Yes guys, welcome back to Luke's Properties YouTube channel. I've just gone for a little walk, so I thought I'd bring you guys with me and tell you about another success story that we've just had. So my success student Tobi just secured his first rent-to-rent property. A very nice 6-bedroom all ensuite property in Peterborough, HMO, and it's been a journey with Tobi. It's taken 143 days to get here, and I hope by sharing his story that anyone watching this who's on the fence about getting started in rent-to-rent gets a bit of inspiration, a bit of motivation, and takes value from it and starts their journey. So a little bit about Tobi. He's a computer programmer by trade. I first spoke to Tobi maybe 4 or 5 months ago now, and he told me that his goal was to build a rent-to-rent portfolio and to create cash flow from properties and eventually replace his income. He's not in a rush to replace his income. He enjoys his job, but he's also aware that he can't work forever, and working 40-hour weeks compared to a couple hours a day, 10-hour weeks with a rent-to-rent business is what Tobi wants. He wants to buy his time back, and he was quite clear that he would keep working once he got his first rent-to-rent, and then when he gets a couple more, maybe consider cutting his hours down and going full-time into his rent-to-rent business. But he was very much willing to play the long game. He wasn't in a rush. Very intelligent guy, practical thinker, and what I've been most impressed about with Tobi, or most impressed by, has been his speed of implementation. And that's kind of how I judge someone's intelligence, I guess, you know. Like, he went through the program within the first couple weeks of joining and literally started to implement it so quickly. And I think within his first month he was already on the brink of getting his first deal. I remember he drove all the way up to Birmingham. He's based in Bedford, but he drove up to Birmingham where he had a landlord he had been speaking to and he had arranged a viewing with, and he wasn't expecting the whole landlord's family to be at the house when he got there, but they were. I think grandmother and all. And he had to pitch in front of the whole family, which he found daunting at the time. But what I realised is, by him throwing himself in the deep end like that so quickly, it sped up his learning curve, and he started to understand how rent-to-rent works and how to communicate it, more importantly, a lot quicker than a lot of other people on the program. And I think it's because the speed in which he started to implement and do the practical work, which is speaking to landlords, speaking to agents, going on viewings and making offers, right? So he viewed this place in Birmingham, sold the landlord and his entire family on the service. They were willing to go ahead with Tobi. Then we went to work doing some more numbers. We set up some dummy ads and tested the area to see if we got any inquiries on some of the rooms for rent and short-term stay platforms. And together we made the decision a couple days after the viewing not to go ahead with this particular property, just because we didn't feel like it was the right fit for the first one, and we felt like it was only going to be able to be used as a serviced accommodation property, which limited us in terms of ways and methods that we can rent it and make money from it, right? So I like my students to find properties that they can rent in a couple ways, so that they're not just stuck with one strategy to make money. I like there to be at least two ways for them to make positive cash flow from the property. So we felt like this property was only going to be able to be used as a serviced accommodation, and the configuration of the property was a little bit tricky. So we still done some tests, we still set up some dummy ads, but with the data that we got back, we decided not to go ahead with it, even though Tobi had gone so far as to pitch the landlord, drive up to Birmingham, and actually get the landlord to say yes, which was super impressive, considering that Tobi recorded the phone call and he sent it to me. And when the landlord first came on the phone with Tobi, he was very skeptical, very unsure, wasn't sold on Tobi at all, or the service that Tobi was offering. But 20 minutes later, Tobi had managed to use the scripts that we have inside the program, use the psychology, explain the value in the service, and by the end of the phone call, the landlord was pretty much ready to commit, you know. He just wanted to meet Tobi, which Tobi then went and done. So he turned the landlord from a cold lead that he found on Gumtree, I believe, into a very warm landlord who was ready to say yes and give him the keys, you know. It just wasn't the right property, so we walked away from it. But Tobi learned loads from that, and I really learned a lot about Tobi from that first month, really. I knew that he would succeed because the speed in which he started to implement, right? So fast forward a few weeks from that first viewing, and Tobi then found another property in Coventry this time, which he went and viewed. It was a 5-bed HMO. He viewed it, he sent me a video of the property. The viewing went well. On our coaching call, we decided to make an offer, which Tobi did promptly. The next day he made an offer of, I think, £1,700 a month, and unfortunately the landlord declined the offer and chose to work with someone else. Reason being, well, this is what he said to Tobi: the other agent that was interested had tenants lined up already, was slightly more experienced than Tobi, had been operating for a longer time period. He did say that he really liked Tobi, and he found him very professional and would want to work with him, but on this particular occasion he would rather go with someone else. So that was another setback for Tobi, but again, lessons learned, and every setback is an opportunity to learn and improve your pitch, which is exactly what Tobi did. So fast forward a couple months later, Tobi's still going on viewings, perfecting his pitch to landlords. We're speaking most days on WhatsApp, going back and forth, seeing how we can improve. Tobi's taking in every piece of information I give to him and implementing it straight away, fine-tuning things, tweaking things. And a few months later, Tobi found a 6-bed all-ensuite property online. I think he found it on Rightmove, actually. 6-bed all-ensuite HMO in Peterborough. We had a chat about it on our weekly Zoom call, and I said to him, the en-suites are like gold in this game, you know, so if you can get them to agree to an offer, I think we should snap this one up. Again, Tobi took that advice immediately, made a very, very compelling, fair offer to the estate agent who was working on behalf of the landlord. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been going through referencing, and finally we got an offer accepted. And it's such a sweet feeling, especially when you've worked so hard at something for a longer period of time, right? I mean, 143 days, I believe. Yeah, 143 days isn't that long, but considering how quickly Tobi got off the mark and started doing the practical, 143 days later to get your first deal, it just tastes that much sweeter. So anyway, offer accepted. Over the last couple of weeks, Tobi's been going through referencing, which has been a stressful process for him because obviously he's a new company and he wasn't sure if he would pass referencing and stuff. So we've been going back and forth, and I've been telling him just stay calm. If it's meant to be, it will be. Yeah, passed referencing, flying colours, paid the first month's rent, and I think another month as a deposit. He's signed the contract yesterday and collected the keys, and he's already got one of the rooms tenanted, I think for £900 a month, which is great. So yeah, a really cool story, a really happy ending. He's currently filling the remaining 5 ensuite rooms as we speak. There was already some furniture there, but he's adding some soft furnishings. He's got a photographer who's a friend of his at the property taking photos and videos to market the property. And yeah, a really happy ending to a great story. And it's been a pleasure working with Tobi. He's a dream to work with, really coachable, intelligent dude. Implemented everything that I've asked him to do, and it's no surprise that he's got his first rent-to-rent deal in around 5 months into the program. So for you watching this, if you're on the fence and you're a similar person to Tobi, you know, you're driven, you're determined, you're willing to take a couple setbacks and keep going, then this could be your reality too. You know, you could have your first rent-to-rent deal as well, and I could be celebrating your success right now, because Tobi's just a normal person, as am I. He's no different to you watching this. The only difference is he believed in himself enough to take the first step and join a program, set his business up. He believed in me to get him the result and help him and mentor him. And he had a clear vision in mind of where he wants to be and what his vehicle is going to be to get there, which is rent to rent, right? He's going to turn his savings, 5, 10, 15 grand savings into 40, 50, 60 grand over the next couple years, maybe more. And that's going to allow him to replace his income and start saving to buy some properties too. And all he did was implement what I taught him, turn up to the Zoom calls every week, ask me as many questions as possible, message me often on WhatsApp, and do the work. So the credit goes to Tobi. All I've done is guide him. As I said, very easy person to coach, very much a growth mindset person, wants to learn, wants to improve. And you can actually see videos of me and Tobi having mentoring sessions on my YouTube channel. You can see us going over his call recordings, and you can see me and him improving his pitch. You can also see us analysing deals, which we've been doing most weeks over the last 5 months or so. So go and watch those videos and see for yourself. And if you want to start or scale your own rent to rent business, and you're at that stage and you have a clear goal in mind, you want to either replace your income or grow your income, create a side hustle, build up your pot for buying properties, then get involved. I'll put a link in the video description below. Click the link, you'll be able to book in a free call with me. On that call we'll have a chat, see if we're a good fit for each other and if I'd be a good mentor for you. And if so, you can join the program and we can get to work. And in a few months' time, we could be celebrating your success too. Another day, another success story, another happy ending, another happy client. And if you're watching this and you're on the fence, get off the fence and take action. And in a few months' time, we can be celebrating your story. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.